You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy to use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today. All right, folks, welcome in. We are back, JE Live. So, fun fact, in the effort of being as transparent as possible with my audience, I had planned to go live last night. I had actually passed out. I had a job interview, and I was catching up on sleep, apparently, because I went to just take a quick 1-hour nap, and I woke up, and it was 11:45. Mind you, I had the job interview right around 2 to 3 o'clock p.m. So, so much for that. But, I've been up since I woke up at that time, and I've just been grinding. I've been putting together all sorts of draft content, planning on having the Rams running back draft prospect video coming out soon. I don't know exactly when that's going to come out, but it should be relatively soon, and, looking forward to doing that. But yeah, so WTF, what the F essentially, was on the, on the thumbnail, right? And people probably are wondering why I've flipped the switch. I've changed my opinion. I've mixed things up. And that's not what I'm doing. So let me just first start off by saying I can think it's a soft reboot and be okay with that, but also have an issue with it at the same time. I can understand and process what's going on and still have an issue with what's going on. And I think it's the same with anybody, right? I think anybody who has stock in this franchise, not literal stock, you're not the Green Bay Packers, but with the Rams and, being a fan, if you own a jersey, if you own a hat, if you own a phone case, if you don't own anything and you just claim them as your team, you have stock in this franchise. So what you say does matter. And what I think is the common misconception here is that there's, the right answer is always side with the team. And, I think a lot of the time, we get so complacent as fans where you have a team that has had success. And so it's, well, whatever they're doing is right. Whatever, this team's doing is right. They won a Super Bowl. They've been one of the best teams consistently since 2017. And I got to be honest with you, that's not how I look at it. How I look at it is, yes, you can think they've done a nice job, and that's not, a knock on you. That doesn't make you wrong. But my thing is that you absolutely can criticize them. You can criticize the fact that, look, they took a 5-12 season, and you could argue they're overreacting. And, before you say, well, Jake, they won a Super Bowl. Yes, they did, but, where's the sustained success here? So they're going to win a Super Bowl, and then that's that, and then they're going to blow it up. Look, I understand they're probably keeping Donald, they're probably keeping Stafford, they're probably keeping Kupp. But at that point, I ask, why? To the point of the title, Are the Rams making a huge mistake with this offseason plan? The reason I pose this question, I think it's a very fair question, because you can say it helps them in the long run. It absolutely helps them in the long run. But by that measure, this is also the same team that supposedly went all in for their Super Bowl, right? And if they are willing to go all in and it's all about getting one ring, then why are you doing this the year where it has never been easier? It's never been weaker, the NFC conference. The NFC is quote unquote dog water right now. I mean, think about it. You got Kyler Murray. First off, the Cardinals aren't even a threat, but you got Kyler Murray who's going to be out half the year. So they're going to have to figure that out. They're in a weird situation. They're paying him a lot of dough, and they can't just go out and get Lamar Jackson, right? It's not an easy contract to just get rid of. Okay, so they have Kyler Murray who's out half the season. Then you have the 49ers who don't know who their quarterback is. And you could say, well, Jake, the 49ers are great. They'll figure it out. And they probably will. But let's just look at the facts of this. We don't know who their quarterback is. We don't know, was Brock Purdy not even a half a year wonder? What is Brock Purdy? We don't know. Is Trey Lance going to get an opportunity? We don't know. Are they going to sneak in and steal Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers? We don't know. So that's the thing there. Then you look at the Seattle Seahawks. They just paid $35 million a year to Geno Smith, who had one good year. I like Geno. I'm happy for Geno. He's a great story. But think about this, folks. He's in his 30s. It's not like he's super young. And he just finally had a good season, and they paid him $35 million per year. Like, I mean, there's concern there. Okay, so we figured that out, right? Like with the NFC West, okay? Now look at the Rams. If the Rams didn't do this, if they weren't trading away Jalen Ramsey, they weren't going to cut or trade away Leonard Floyd, they weren't going to trade or cut Allen Robinson, they didn't cut Bobby Wagner, then you'd look at the team and you'd be like, wow, if that team just did some restructuring, this team could have milked another season. And this is probably the year where you could totally justify milking a season, where you get some restructures, you get some cap. Because I told you there was a pathway to get about $60 million in cap space if you did some restructures this year. And while that hurts you in the long run, for sure, there's still ways to get out of that. And I think it's never been a better time. It's never been easier than now to win in the NFC. The NFC looks awful. So again, we talked about the NFC West, figured that out. If the Rams restructured, did everything, I think they win that division. They look like the best team. Keep in mind, the 49ers also now are going to have to try to pay Brandon Ayuk. They have to pay Nick Bosa. So they have, money coming up, and they don't have a pick until the third round, which I think a lot of people forget. Anyway, we move on. NFC East. The Giants just paid $40 million and incentives to bring in Daniel Jones on a multi-year deal. So Daniel Jones is going to be their franchise quarterback. I'm not trying to hate on Daniel Jones. Good for him. Get your money. But it's Daniel Jones. It's not, it's not Matthew Stafford. It's not Jalen Hurts. Daniel Jones, who's probably he has half of the production as Lamar Jackson, and yet he got the money and Lamar Jackson didn't. So the Giants just tag Saquon Barkley. Will they have some cap space? Maybe, but that's not a great team. That's a team that's being elevated by the coaching staff and mainly Brian Daboll. So then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, right? And the Cowboys, I'll say it over and over again, I don't care how good that defense is. I don't care how many weapons you give Dak. Dak Prescott's not winning you a Super Bowl. He's not doing it. I'm sorry, he's not. We've watched him fail time and time again where he has put his team in position to fail. He has failed on the big stage. The divisional round against the 49ers, they should have won that game. Dak can't win. Okay, he can't win the big game. So why would I care about the Cowboys? Why are they a threat? The Rams wouldn't have any issue with them. They beat Dak in the playoffs with Jared Goff. Anyway, we move on. Eagles. Eagles have a lot of free agents. They don't have a lot of cap space. They're older, but they do have Jalen Hurts. That's the one thing there that I think does keep them in contention. Of course, you look at the coaching staff. I'm excited to see what Brian Johnson does, as an offensive coordinator, first-year offensive coordinator. I really, really, really like Sirianni, and I think that team is going to be competitive. But are they the same team that just went to the Super Bowl? I wouldn't say so. And teams are going to be gunning for them, as we've seen. Plus, the possibility of a Super Bowl hangover. So then you look at the Washington Commanders. And I don't know what to make of the Commanders because Chase Young is a fifth-year option for pretty much half the league, if not more half the league. And Washington isn't bringing him back. And I don't know who's going to be their quarterback, but they're not interested in Lamar Jackson because, I don't know, why would you? It's not like you've had a quarterback in a while. Washington hasn't had a legit starting quarterback since Kirk Cousins. Think about that. So I'm not worried about Washington either. And definitely not when Ron Rivera is the head coach. Okay. The NFC South here, right? So you got the Falcons. What are the Falcons going to do? They're not interested in I almost said Michael Vick. They're not interested in Lamar Jackson. I don't know what they're going to do, but I do trust what they're doing. I like how they're building their team. I think they can be competitive. I think the Panthers are the team to look out for in this because they have a great defense. They have a great offensive line, and they have great coaching. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback, though. So that's up in the air. The Falcons quarterback thing is up in the air. It might be Desmond Ridder. It might be another guy. Who knows? And then you look at, of course, Tampa. And you're like, so the Tampa is either going to go out and get Baker Mayfield, who I like. I'm not knocking Baker Mayfield, but it's either Baker Mayfield or they're going to stick with Kyle Trask. Really? You expect me to be scared of Kyle Trask? I'm sorry. Tampa is about to go into another dark age, and they have no one to blame but themselves because they did not go out and get a true heir to the throne for when Tom Brady, who, by the way, was still in his 40s, he was only getting older. They never prepared for that. So not worried about them. So then you look at the Saints. They just got Derek Carr. Now, I'm high on Derek Carr. I was very high on Derek Carr going to the Jets. I think he's going to do well, but what I will say is Derek Carr hasn't won anything, right? Even with the Raiders, even with that good team, Derek Carr hasn't won anything. So there's no proven, thing there. It does help that he went to the NFC. They have some good pieces, but are they Super Bowl threats? So then we go the North, and you have the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers is out. He's going to be a Jet in all likelihood. And we'll have a video on that. But Aaron Rodgers in all likelihood's out. So now you have Jordan Love. And are you quaking in your boots for Jordan Love? It's not to say Jordan Love can't be a franchise quarterback, but Jordan Love versus Matthew Stafford, I'm taking Matthew Stafford. And then you look at the Vikings, and I got to say, as much as I've been on Kirk Cousins, I've been on the train and saying, like, all right, this is hit. KOC is going to get him. KOC did his best, and Kirk Cousins just honestly crumbled. I just think, honestly, Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, maybe even very good, but not great, and he's not going to win you a Super Bowl. So I'm not worried about the Vikings as long as Kirk Cousins is under center. So then you have the Bears. And Justin Fields, to me, it's great. Like, he runs and everything, but he hasn't shown me progression as a pocket passer, as a true thrower of the football. I feel like, I don't know, maybe the game's too fast for him. I don't know, but we need to see a huge leap. And at that point, I'm not worried about Justin Fields if I'm playing an NFC title game against the team that's picking first. So then you look and you're like, okay, the Lions. And this is why I have the Lions in the Super Bowl, because you can say what you will about Jared Goff, but they have the secret sauce there. Ben Johnson staying. He's getting paid more than any other offensive coordinator to stay. So you have Ben Johnson. You have that connection with Goff. You have all those weapons. I know DJ Chark will be a free agent, but you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jameson Williams. You got James Mitchell that no one's talking about, but he is going to really surprise people at tight end. You got DeAndre Swift. You have draft picks, 2 of them, I might add, in the first round. I believe you have 2 in the second. Then you have a really good offensive line. line. You have a better defense, a defense that could add Jalen Ramsey, that could add Bobby Wagner, right? So the Lions, out of everyone I named, the Lions are really the biggest threat. I'd say the Eagles by default, they were in the big game, whatever, you could say them. Eagles, Lions. So the Rams, competition, Eagles, Lions. Who else do I have? Who else do I have, really? In all honesty, when you go through the whole NFC, this is exactly why I have an issue just, well, you know what? Now we're going to cut all our good players. We're going to trade our players away. We're going to focus on 2024, 2025, 2026, and have this be a transition year. This is not the time for a transition year. This is the time when you have Stafford on that deal, you have Kupp on that deal, you have Donald, you have Ramsey, you have Wagner. This is the time to go and win. Okay? This is the time to go and win. It's that simple. So, and yes, I guess I did forget about the 49ers. But the point I'm making is that we're talking about a handful of teams. The NFC has never been easier to win. It was easy last year. It got easier this year with the removal of Aaron Rodgers, right? The removal of Tom Brady. I mean, I understand these teams are going to get better in the draft and free agency, but how much better? What is the cap on that? I mean, Lamar Jackson is the only guy there, right? Like, if you're talking about completely changing your team, the Packers aren't trading Aaron Rodgers to anybody in the NFC. So don't even think about that. But Lamar Jackson is the only one that can be like, if the 49ers went out and just said, screw everything, we're tired of our quarterback situation always being up in the air, we're going to trade for Lamar Jackson, they would instantly be the favorites in the NFC. They would instantly be dominant, and I honestly think they'd win the Super Bowl. Now, his injuries are a concern, but I think Kyle Shanahan would do a nice job of keeping him upright, keeping him out of harm's way. You know, that would be a nightmare scenario for the Rams. But are they going to do that? I don't think they have the money to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. So the point I'm making is that I know, I've said it, I understand why they're moving Ramsey, but they're not ending with just moving Ramsey. They're not just spreading out the Jalen Ramsey money and going out and getting, help on the offensive line here and a wide receiver here. No. They're getting rid of Jalen Ramsey. They're getting rid of Bobby Wagner. They're getting rid of Leonard Floyd. And guess what? Yeah, I've always said the whole, I've said this before when we were doing our mock off seasons over the last couple of years. I've said, yeah, cap space is great, but sometimes the player's better. Let me ask you this. Leonard Floyd is going to save you $3 million and you're going to incur a $19 million dead cap hit if you cut him right now. Is the $3 million worth cutting Leonard Floyd? I don't think so. And you could say, well, Jake, 2014, he's only going to have a $6 million cap hit. It gets them out of the guarantee contract. It does. But now you have to replace him, who's one of the best run defending outside linebackers in the NFL. And he's had at least 9 sacks, 3 straight seasons. And to me, that's a problem. Getting rid of Jalen Ramsey, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but it's not like you have Tremaine Johnson on the other side. It's not like you have a Janoris Jenkins. Jacoby Durant is young. I think Jacoby Durant needs to play off Ramsey. Throwing him in the fire like that, making him the number 1 corner seems harsh to me. Not saying he can't do it, but that's harsh. So, I'm sorry, you're adding all of these. So you're adding very minimal cap space and you're sacrificing all this talent. And it's not just getting, it's not just getting rid of really good players, guys. It's about getting rid of players and creating needs that you didn't previously have. And right now, the Rams aren't getting enough cap to even justify this. This is all about 2024 and beyond. This has nothing to do with 2023 because this does not make the Rams a better football team in 2023. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that right now their goal is to win a Super Bowl in 2023. Their goal is to try to get by while they try to rebuild in the middle of this season. And I called it a soft reboot, and I'll say, it is, but it's also starting to look like a complete rebuild. Are they bringing back Greg Gaines? I don't think so. I mean, at this point, do they even care about defense? How is that not going to be an issue? How is that not going to be an issue? You know, are you really going to tell me that it's not going to be an issue not having Ramsey, not having Floyd, not having Gaines, not having Wagner? You don't think this team is going to have any issues on defense? How good do you think this defense can be? And let's be honest here, okay? And because I'm a realist, you know, I'm an optimist. You guys know that. I said the Rams would win the Super Bowl, and people thought I was being a little too optimistic. I was right. But anyway, I'm an optimist, but I'm also, you know, a realist here. And here's what I'm seeing. Not enough draft picks, not enough cap space to fill the voids that you're leaving behind. That's my issue. How good can this team really be? I mean, that's my issue. Like, if they trade Jalen Ramsey away, I don't know, you know, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, they need to at least get a first rounder, but I mean, they need to get a first and probably trade down, which my buddy in here, Michael King, has suggested in conversation with me. I talked to him a lot outside of the live stream, and you know, Michael and I always talk back and forth about, you know, different things that, you know, the Rams can do and kind of brainstorm. And, you know, he's given me some really good ideas, you know, for the show. And so shout out to him. But yeah, you know, he's talked about that. I agree. I mean, you say you pick in the first round and, you know, now you don't have a fourth round pick. You don't have a ton of picks. You have a decent amount because you have a second. You do have a third. You're going to get potentially a fourth round compensatory. You're going to get a fifth round, probably a bunch of sixth, sevenths, whatever. But trading down does make sense. Like, I want to be at least in the first round so I could survey what's there. And then if I don't like what's there, if I don't feel like it's a need, if I don't feel like anybody I'm dying to choose, I will trade down and acquire more picks. Because right now, guys, this is what is not being talked about. Everyone could say this is all fine and dandy, but what isn't being talked about this whole thing is that there aren't enough draft picks the Rams have accumulated, and there isn't enough cap space to really fill the voids left behind with these guys. If you think about it, the Rams have created needs all over the team. There's only one quarterback signed to the active roster. That's Matthew Stafford. They have two running backs in Cam Akers and Kyren Williams. Cam Akers is going into a contract year, and Kyren Williams is a rookie that didn't really get much of a chance last year. They need another guy in that running back room that's going to be a real change of pace. Kyren has decent speed, not the best speed. It doesn't really translate to the NFL as far as breakaway. We're not talking about home run threat. And honestly, Cam Akers gets tackled from behind. You need another guy that can come in and can be that body blow. Haymaker when you have Cam Akers and Kyren Williams being that body blow. And that's the thing. So when you look at guys like Deuce Vaughn in this draft, you look at guys like Keaton Mitchell, those are two guys that I circle. I'm not talking about more of I've seen a lot of, you know, the talk of they need a bowling ball or they need like a really big physical back. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think they need more of a shiftier guy, kind of a gadget guy in a sense, but a little bit more filled out than Tutu Atwell that can play the running back position, that can catch out of the backfield, that's quick-footed, that can make guys miss, slippery in space, all of that. That's what they need. I think that's what they need. They can definitely get that in this draft. I did finish all of my running back grading and everything. I watched 25 running backs, and I can tell you this draft has everything that you can need at running back. There's a little bit of everything. So as far as that goes, the Rams, again, going back to it, quarterback, they have Matthew Stafford. That's it, signed to a contract. Running back, they have 3 running backs because someone mentioned Ronnie Rivers in the comment section. They do have him. They like him. We'll see what happens there, but I'd like them to add another. Then you look at the wide receivers. Well, they said Allen Robinson go ask for a trade, right? So he doesn't count. So you have Cooper Kupp. you have Tutu Atwell, Van Jefferson, Ben Skoranek, and you have guys like Lance McCutcheon and, guys that probably aren't going to get much of a shot. So really you have 4 guys, Skoranek, Kupp, Atwell, Van. Van is going into a contract season. Okay. Van's going into a contract season. Skoranek can help you because he can also, kick in at fullback. He's a great blocker, could even work at tight end a little bit. You got Kupp, who's the best receiver in the league, and you got Atwell, who is your deep threat, who, let's be honest, really came on strong at the end of the year. So do you go out and you grab another receiver, whether that be free agency, a cheap one, or do you draft one? I don't know, but they're probably going to add another receiver in some capacity, maybe via trade. I don't know. Tight ends. Like we talk about, maybe you could argue another wide receiver's a need. Maybe they need another running back. Tight end, they definitely need another tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams picked a tight end in the first round. If they traded Jalen Ramsey for a first round pick and a third or whatever, and they spent one of them on a tight end, I would not be surprised. Not at all. Not at all. They need a tight end. It is literally Higbee, Hopkins, and then you have Roger Carter and Jared Pinkney. Okay? They need another tight end. Higbee's going into a contract year. Yeah. I mean, that's simple. It's really that simple. Bryson Hopkins, I believe, is going into a contract year. So, you need tight ends. Then you look at the offensive line. Do I have to tell you? Do I have to sit here and say the Rams have a need on offensive line? Or have we figured that out? I think, judging by the comment section of almost virtually every video, I think we figured out the Rams could use some help on the offensive line. I'm not saying blow up the offensive line. I think they got some good pieces. You got Logan Bruss for the future. You can develop him. You got Rob Havenstein, Coleman Shelton. I don't know. I mean, maybe a little bit longer. Brian Allen, they're not getting rid of. They're not getting rid of Noteboom. Alec Jackson's exciting, but they could definitely use some pieces. And they're going to get some pieces, whether that's, cheap offensive line or, through free agency, they trade for a guy, it's through the draft. They're going to get another guy, at least another guy, probably 2, probably, maybe even 3, but they're probably going to get a couple more guys for the offensive line, if not more. So, offensive line's a need. Then defensive line, because, by the way, Ashawn Robinson and Greg Gaines were free agents. So you can say what you will, because I very much am excited for the potential of Marquise Copeland getting more of an opportunity. I'm excited to see the growth of Bobby Brown. I thought he played really well down the stretch. Jonah Williams, I like him. But if you don't think that they don't need another defensive lineman, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That becomes a need. I'd argue that becomes a need for getting 2 more. Not just 1, getting 2 more. Losing Ashawn and Greg is going to really hurt the Rams. And if they get one of them back, okay, fine, get another one. But that's not going to be easy. Then the giant hole that you put at linebacker. You could say what you will. Ernest Jones is there. Okay, but they play with 2 linebackers more often than not. And, now that you don't have Bobby Wagner, who, by the way, was the only All-Pro on the team, genius. Now you have, you can bring back Traven Howard, maybe. You have Christian Roseboom and Jake Hummel. To me, I think they draft a linebacker. There's not anybody in free agency that I think really makes a ton of sense. I mean, Eric Kendricks is going to cost a lot of money. So I see people asking me, Jake, should the Rams get Eric Kendricks? Wouldn't make any sense to what they're doing because they don't want to actually spend money. They want to save it. So, no, I don't see that. Linebacker's a need. Then corner. So this is your new cornerback room without Jalen Ramsey. Are you ready for this? Hold on to your hats because this is going to blow you away and not in a good way. Jacoby Durant, Darion Kendrick, and Robert Rochelle. Your 2023 Rams cornerbacks if they don't draft or sign anybody. David Long is a free agent. Troy Hill's a free agent, although I think Troy Hill might be back, but we'll see. You talk about, and then outside linebacker. We didn't even get to edge right now because you're going to get rid of Leonard Floyd. That's obvious. It's Michael Hoyt, Daniel Hardy, and Keir Thomas. That's it. Maybe Ernest Brown the 4th if you put him there. But I mean, that's what you're looking at. That's your outside linebackers. And then furthermore, safeties. So Nick Scott, Taylor Rapp gone. So now it's Jordan Fuller, Quentin Lake, and Russ Yeast, which I like all three of them, but I think you definitely need another safety. So my point is, by the way, in case you didn't know, the Rams are all likely not bringing back Matt Gay. So if they're not bringing back Matt Gay at kicker, then they're going to need a kicker. And I can't imagine them bringing back Riley Dixon if they're not bringing back Matt Gay. So then they'll need a punter. And I'm not worried about kick returner and punt returner, but they're going to need that too. So, I mean, it's a lot, guys. This is why I have an issue with it. They're creating all of these needs. You know, I mean, I understand there's a method to the madness. I know they're not just doing it to just like torture the fan base, but if you don't see that, you know, they're creating needs and they might be, it's like they're admitting defeat and just doing it all at once. Like they're going all in the opposite realm. Like how they went all in. So I still don't think they went all in. I think that's still a ridiculous narrative, but I get what they're saying to an extent. It's like they're doing the opposite. Like they're giving away their chips. They're pushing it all to the middle of the table and they're not playing the hand. That's the thing. It's like we're pushing all our chips to the center, but you know what? We're kind of done with this, so you guys can take the chips. You know, it's like just leave a tip. And they're taking the tip, and that's what they're getting for it. I'm sorry. Not a fan. And, you know, there are people that are like, Jake, you don't know what the plan is. Like, you know, let's be honest here. Like, you know, they could surprise you. How are they going to surprise me? There's not much else that's possible that they could do. Like, the cap isn't a myth. The cap is real. The Rams proved this offseason the cap is not a myth. Like, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, the cap is a myth. No, it's not. If the cap was a myth, then the Rams definitely wouldn't have been able to manipulate it for as long as they did and then, you know, basically continue. If the cap was a myth, then they wouldn't have to be doing what they're doing right now. The cap is not a myth. I was saying that too. I got caught up, you know. You get lost in the sauce, right? But now it's all coming back to them. And like I said, you know, things that bother me about this. One, you're creating holes on your roster. Two, you're not getting much in return. In years past, the Rams would cut guys and they'd get like $13 million in cap savings. They're not getting that. Okay? They're not getting that with any of these guys. So that's another thing. Number three, the thing that really pisses me off is that they're just succumbing to what the national media has been saying they should do all along. Like, how unprofessional does that look? Like, you know, oh, you know, they should just blow it up. And now they're admitting that they were wrong. I mean, essentially, the Rams are just saying, you know what, guys, you guys were right. We went all out to win one ring. We had no interest in being a sustained, successful team that could become a dynasty. We just wanted to win one ring, blow it up, and create a new team. And I know they're not just blowing it up for leisure. Like, what they're doing is they're trying to create a sustainable team. They're trying to create a dynasty with Sean McVay. I get that. I'm not saying that's wrong. But I'm saying this point in time, when the NFC is wide open, it is not going to get any easier, folks, to beat anybody in the NFC. And this is when you decide to do it. And you decide to do it after like 1 year after paying Matthew Stafford that contract. So you're just wasting his time? Like, what? Why? Aaron Donald, why would he come back to this? Like, if I'm Aaron Donald, I don't know why I want to be a part of this. I have no idea. Like, I would want to trade. I would sacrifice whatever money I could to get out of there. And before you say, well, you know, Jake, loyalty, you know, Aaron Donald needs to retire a Ram. Well, Isaac Bruce didn't retire a Ram. Torrey Holt didn't retire a Ram. Kurt Warner, talk about loyalty. Kurt Warner was thrown in a dumpster. Without Kurt Warner, the Rams wouldn't have won a Super Bowl until Sean McVay. Talk about loyalty. He didn't retire a Ram. No. Chris Long, James Laurinaitis, Steven Jackson didn't retire Rams. Eric Dickerson, no. Like, what do you mean loyalty? This is the NFL. I mean, there is no loyalty. At the end of the day, it's a business. And right now, if you're doing this, it makes 0 sense to keep Aaron Donald. 0. I've said it. I'm not saying trade him, but I'm saying if you're going to get rid of like your whole defense, you might as well trade Donald too. And I understand I've said like, okay, like they're modeling what Kansas City does. Doesn't mean I want them to. Keep in mind, Kansas City, that doesn't just happen overnight. Kansas City wasn't trading those picks. I mean, they wasted a first rounder, drafting a running back and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But aside from that, they had picks. They've been developing these guys. Like, they took Nick Bolton in the same round. I think the Rams took Atwell. Like, the Rams could have had Nick Bolton. It's a process. And I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't. It comes off as a major overreaction. Comes off like the same. It gives me the same exact vibes. It gives me the same exact vibes as the Lakers. Like when the Lakers won the title, it's almost the same thing. The Lakers win the title, and then, So the Lakers win the title, and then they have a bad year where they have injuries, and similar to the Rams, right? They do make the playoffs, but they lose to the Suns, and they get destroyed in that series. Immediately, almost immediately, instantaneously, the Lakers brass was like, we need to make all these moves. And they panicked. It was the opposite way, but they traded away all of their depth to go out and get Russell Westbrook, who I love. But even as a Westbrook fan, that made no sense. Like, if you really think about it, made no sense. Kind of like this. I mean, you're getting rid of like your whole defense. And let me tell you, by the way, for those of you that don't like Raheem Morris, I mean, you're really not liking this. Because essentially what this means is that the Rams are putting all their eggs into the proverbial Raheem Morris basket. And they're saying, you know what? We don't need to have all these stars on the defense because we believe that Raheem can get the most out of these players. Now, here's what I think about this. I think Raheem Morris can. I think he can get the most out of the players. I think he's a fantastic defensive coordinator. He's a top 10 in the league. And here's my issue with that, though. That's a ridiculous ask for Raheem Morris to just take a bunch of rookie second-year guys and, turn those guys into a great defense. And you could say, well, Jake, best defense is an offense. You could just score a lot of points. And I have mentioned it on Rams Wire, right? I did mention it on not Rams Wire. Why the hell did I just say Rams Wire? Believe in Rams with Cam. I was like, Cameron Lynch. I said that offense wins championships. That's like the mentality. That's like the mindset now, right? And it feels that way. Like it feels like teams are going to just copy the Chiefs. But at the same time, I mean, you still need a good defense. And I mean, it's hard for me to believe that this defense is even top 20 without Jalen Ramsey and Bobby Wagner and Leonard Floyd. I mean, they're going to have to hit the draft harder than they've ever hit it before. And that's the funny thing. That's the irony about this. The irony is that them picks force them to hit on draft picks, right? Because if they miss, then it really hurts their overall, roster makeup. But now they have to hit on draft picks and they're not competing and they're not doing the whole them picks thing. Now they it's never been more like mandatory for them to hit on their picks. If they whiff on a second rounder or even a first rounder, I mean, it's not going to be good. Like, you know, they cannot afford to have that. I'd argue, like, these guys, unfortunately, unfairly, they're going to be held to a different standard. If you get drafted by the Rams in the first, second, third, or even fourth round, you might be asked to start day one. That wasn't the case with this team before. But now, all of a sudden, these first through fourth round picks are guys that might have to start day one. You know? Which, I mean, it's an opportunity, but it's almost unfair with how much pressure these rookies are going to be under. But again, it's an opportunity. And if you're ready for it, it's great. I'll tell you right now, if I'm a UDFA, if I don't get drafted, I know exactly where I'm going. I'm going to the Rams. I am absolutely going to the Rams. Do you know why? Because they have a need everywhere. I have a chance to crack the lineup. I have a chance to be on that start, not just in the 53. I have a chance to be in that starting 11, whether it's on defense or offense. Most likely defense. But defensive UDFAs, absolutely. The Rams should be the priority team to go to if teams are looking for, like, that's the thing. That's a dream as a UDFA. Like, don't get me wrong. Some want to, you know, join a team that's going to potentially win them a ring, and then they get to win a ring even when they're not really playing. That's always fresh, and that's nice. But this is going to give them a lot of opportunity, you know, to really play. And I think this team's going to go heavy on UDFAs. I mean, really looking at it, in order to build this team up and, you know, cheap contracts, they're going to need to go with draft. They're going to need to hit it home on the draft, and they're going to need to hit it with the UDFAs. I wouldn't be surprised this team signs over 20 UDFAs. I would not be surprised at all. It's going to be a different look. And if they go all in on the offense, I mean, then it's an experiment. Certainly an experiment. I don't know. If the Rams were to come out and they traded away, you know, an Allen Robinson. If they come out and they traded Allen Robinson away and they get like Brandon Cooks, or they sign Robert Woods, or, you know, even like, I'm not a big fan of it, but even Kenny Golladay has the familiarity with Stafford. You know, if they were to do that, I think, like, I would be okay. Like, I'd be like, all right, so this team isn't just straight up tanking. This team isn't straight up giving up. And I don't think that they're straight up giving up or tanking. And I will say, if you guys didn't see my tweet, for those of you who are like, you know, tank for Caleb or tank for Caleb Williams, guys, you know, I rock the USC hoodie every now and then. I like USC. And I think Caleb Williams would 100% go number one overall this year, and probably will next year, assuming he stays healthy and no one jumps over him, which has happened before. But I'll say this right now. I don't care if you're getting Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, whoever. I'm not tanking. I don't condone it. I don't like it at all. I hate tanking. I mean, I'm so bad with the whole tanking thing that even when the Rams had a chance to get Andrew Luck, you know, they had a chance to get that number one overall pick, I still wanted them to win their games. No matter how bad the Rams were, I always wanted them to win. Tanking does nothing good. It's a disservice to the fans. It's giving up on a season. And for what? You're telling me by doing this, and I'm not saying Caleb Williams won't be a superstar, but you're telling me that you are willing to throw in your season, screw over season ticket holders, tell the fans straight to their face, we don't care about you, put on a bad product on the field on purpose, that people wait from February to September to watch again. And you're telling me that you're okay with that so you can select a quarterback out of college. Like, a quarterback that's never seen NFL coverage, NFL pass rush. That's what you're telling me? Like you're like, and I love the draft. As you guys know, I like a lot of the quarterbacks in this draft. The idea of throwing in the towel on an entire season so you could pick a quarterback next season, no, doesn't sit right with me. Tanking is wrong. Like I said, it's a disservice to fans. It should be banned. You should get fined, and I think you should have loss of picks. I think for teams that tank because that the revenue share program with the NFL and any sport, I think you should be fined. I think you should lose picks. I think you should lose your first 3 picks of your draft. If that's the number 1 overall, the first overall pick in the second round, and the first overall pick in the third round, so be it. Don't tank. I believe that. I think harsh penalties should go towards teams that are willing to purposely lose. It's not just a disservice to the fans. You think that veteran that signed a contract with you, you think that 35-year-old vet who's trying to make it still in the NFL, keep playing, you think he wants to lose? You're playing a violent sport, you're putting your bodies on the line, and then you're going to come out and you're going to say, like, yeah, we're going to just give up? We're going to just not try? That's BS, man. That's absolute BS. So no, screw tanking. I don't like that at all. Yeah, it is hard to prove, but you could tell when if teams are just giving up at the trade deadline, trading away all their guys, I don't mind that. But if you're talking like you have guys on the team, but you're playing like lesser talented guys on purpose, and then all of a sudden you start to look in game and 4th and whatever, you're going for it, or you're punting it on 4th and inches when you're down by 3 and you're at the 40 or so, like stuff like that. When it makes it look obvious, I have issue with that. Why would Clark sign the veteran minimum though? I don't understand why he would do that. He's fantastic. I don't know if he's better than Luck, but I think he's definitely better than Trevor Lawrence at first glance. And we'll see what ends up happening this year, because guys, we were saying the same stuff. And again, it's not to knock USC. I like USC, as you guys know. But we were saying the same stuff about Sam Darnold. People were saying he was generational. People were saying he was going to be a superstar. I remember going to the Rams and Giants game, and Giants fans had custom Sam Darnold Giants jerseys. Tank for Sam. I saw T-shirts of that. Like, Sam Darnold at one point or another was the suck for Sam, right? The tank for Sam. That was a thing. Look what happened there. That did not pan out. The whole can't miss thing, we don't know. I do have some concerns about Caleb Williams' durability. The way he plays, I don't know if that's sustainable. And he had injuries. And you could argue if he doesn't get hurt in the Tulane game, whether this is fair or not, they win that game. So, that's a real thing. You're putting, I just absolutely gets tanking. You'll never see me be okay with that. And I don't mean to throw shade at anybody, but I'm just saying the same people that I've seen on Twitter say tank for Caleb Williams are the same people that have said stuff like Mamba mentality. Well, it's the opposite of Mamba mentality, tanking. Can you imagine? Just imagine this for a second. The Lakers organization goes up to Kobe Bryant and says, yeah, we're tanking. How do you think he's going to, how do you think he would have taken that? How do you think that would have been received? Tanking is giving up. It's quitting. It's a loser's mentality. So yeah, I would absolutely be against it. 100% I would be against it. No question about it. I think, no. Guys, wow, we have 214 people in here. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. We have 62 likes, 214 people. So if we could get that up, that would be fantastic. Michael Thomas, interesting. I don't know where he is right now. Like, where is he? Is he? I know like what team he's on. I know now he's a free agent, but like, where is he in his career? Is this a guy that's like salvageable? Could he even come back, or is he done? Like, that's the thing I need to know before I go out and I get Michael Thomas and I pay money to a guy that can't stay healthy. What is he? Like, I've seen more of Mike Thomas, the Rams 6th round pick from years ago, than I have Michael Thomas. So I don't know. That hurt. I just slammed my thumb against the desk. Not on purpose, but that hurt. Yeah, I don't know what Michael Thomas like is right now. If he goes back to 170 reception Michael Thomas, yeah, sure, I would take that. But I mean, how can you expect that's what he's going to be when he hasn't played in 2 years? I mean, I don't know. I mean, basically, exotic things that I've heard, it's all kind of coming down to it, right? So the focus on the offense, getting rid of Leonard Floyd, getting rid of Jalen Ramsey, really looking towards 2024, 2025, 2026, and even 2027. At the very least, if you take anything good away from that, at least know that this does mean it is good for the possibility of Sean McVay coming back year after year after year, because I don't think that they'd be doing this if it wasn't like, to me, my thought process is that Sean McVay, based on what I've heard, Sean McVay came back, but like it was under the assumption like, hey, we're not just going to tank to win or not, we're not just going to go all in to win. Like, we want to build a consistent team. We want to build a championship team. I know Jordan Rodriguez has mentioned this being like 2019 where they were competitive. They just missed, going to the playoffs, and, they were like getting ready, and then 2020 set them up for then the 2021 Super Bowl. But part of me finds that incredibly unsettling, because what I'm seeing is a pattern here. It's actually holding the Rams back from greatness, which is probably why they're doing this. Because 2018, they go to the Super Bowl. 2019, now they're doing some sort of mid-season remodel, right? And now they go to the Super Bowl, and now, another remodel. It is frustrating for sure. I get what they're doing. It does make sense, but you have to see it from another standpoint as well, where this is the easiest it's ever been in the NFC. I'm not saying it can't get hard, like it's not going to get tougher, like, because teams are going to draft well. It happens. Teams are going to get better. But this NFC conference right now with no Rodgers, no Brady, I don't know if it's going to get easier than that. I mean, you look at the AFC. The AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. You got Mahomes, you got Herbert, you got Burrow, right? I mean, that's just off the top of my head. Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson if he stays. Potentially Aaron Rodgers is joining the fray. Russell Wilson, if he gets back to his old self, that would make him, a better conference. I think I already said Josh Allen, but if I didn't, Josh Allen. I mean, there's really good quarterback play in the AFC. There's some freaking stars. And the NFC, yeah, if Watson gets back to his old form, yeah, you could say Watson. Like, but in the NFC, it's like Stafford, Hurts, Goff, like Dak, Cousins. I mean, Derek Carr. There's nobody in that like A-list tier aside from, you could argue, Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, this to me was the time, but let's see here. Appreciate you for donating sushi for breakfast. Really appreciate that. Dream scenario, Rams are okay next season between 9-11 wins and Quinn Ewers loses the starting job to Arch at Texas and the Rams draft him in the late rounds and maximize that golden arm. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ewers looks solid. I don't know too much about him. I've seen him play a few times. But, you know, since he didn't come out in the draft this year, I didn't see more than like 2 games. So I really couldn't tell you. But, you know, and there were times where I actually thought Hudson Card looked better. But, yeah, I mean, that's certainly a possibility. Aaron Donald will retire if Ramsey is gone with all the changes he gave back to run it back. Yeah, I know. I don't know if he will because of the money. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, Nick Chubb would be a trade. The Rams are not doing that. I just don't see them trading, draft capital for Nick Chubb. I definitely would not want that. JJ3, we'll see what ends up happening, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not really the biggest Michael Thomas fan. I was coming out of the draft. I really loved his footwork off the line of scrimmage was a sight to see, but you know. Jake, I was feeling like you, but after hearing 11 Personnel podcast, what the Rams are doing makes sense. They might make a move to trigger going into 2024 to start the process. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I get it. I don't like it, but and like I said, I mean, I make a good point. Third place schedule, NFC being as easy as it is. Why would you do it this year? Why wouldn't you do it, next year? I mean, why do it when you have these contracts? It doesn't make sense at all. But like I said, it does make sense. I get what they're doing, but I just feel like it was the wrong time to do it. I think they could have milked another season, maybe even another 2 seasons doing what they're doing, and they would have been fine. But instead, and it's not to say that they can't win. Who's to say that they can't win? They could absolutely win. I mean, I think the big thing last year was the injuries on the offensive line. The offensive line stays healthy. They play decent. The offense moves the ball. They score 28 a game, like a Sean McVay offense at its best would do. And the defense has given up 25 a game, which is like 5 more than they gave up last year. Then, I mean, you're probably going to win the majority of your games and you'll live. But I don't know. It's tough. I'm not worried about getting another running back unless it's in the draft and it's not in the first 3 rounds. Like, I draft a running back in the 4th. I'm not trying to draft a running back super early. That's my concern. What's up, LA Rams? But that's all the more reason then, right? He's not 37, by the way. He's 35. Yeah, I believe he just turned 35 too. Yeah, Stafford's a young 35. Like he turned 35 in February. Like, he's not that old either. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I would hope so, but I mean, that's a real concern too. Absolutely. Roger, thank you so much for the 5 there. Appreciate you donating. Prepare to see SoFi empty Tickets are way too expensive to go to see another 5-12 season. At least my pockets won't be as hurt. LOL. See, and I don't blame you for this. See, there'll be some fans that will go after Roger for this, this thought. But to me, I don't blame you. You vote with your dollar. And what you're saying, if you don't go to, and I'm not advocating don't go to SoFi, right? I'm not advocating for that. But I'm saying I don't blame people for thinking this way. Sporting tickets are outrageous. Think about this. They're outrageously expensive. And they're outrageously expensive to pay the players, to pay the staff. And now, so you're saying the product on the field is diminishing, right? The talent is diminishing. You're not paying, like, who am I? If the tickets are the same price next year, where's this money going to? Just Donald? Not Ramsey, like, I get that. I get being annoyed by that. I think that's a real thing. I mean, sporting tickets are expensive, man. And if you, yeah, I agree. The product has to match, the product on the field has to match the value of the tickets, in my opinion. If your team's not great, I'm sorry, you're not going to get a lot of people to watch. Like, also another thing, just because you watch on TV doesn't make you bad either. You're not a bad fan. They're expensive. It's a lot to go to a game. I don't hate on people who want to stay inside and watch it on TV in their nice home. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. I think he'll probably go in the first. Tell Tom Brady that. He was about 10 years older than that when he retired. And part of me doesn't even feel that way. Like, part of me feels like the injuries had so much to do with last year that I still think that they could be fine next year. But I no longer feel like pencil them in for 11 to 12 wins. Like, I don't feel that way anymore. I'm kind of like, wait and see. Let's see what ends up happening. Did the Rams really hire Sam Hinkie? Or are you just making that up? Is it the whole trust the process? Yeah, I like Baker, but I don't know how you would even, I don't know how on earth you'd be able to pay Baker $8 million. I don't know how you would make that work. Yes, please do. Thank you, Mark. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this. Be sure to also subscribe if you haven't already. We are actually fast approaching 18K subscribers. Right now we're at 17,520. So we've actually gained 10 subscribers in this live stream alone. So appreciate you guys. That's freaking awesome. Let's see. A lot. They said remodel. They didn't say facelift. I'm not going to lie. I would be livid. If they don't get at least a first rounder for Jalen Ramsey, I'm going to be livid. That will make me mad. It depends on how much somebody like that would cost. I don't really know. Wentz has some baggage there with his injuries and just like he was benched. Like if he's a $2 to $3 million quarterback, sign me up. But if he's more like Baker Mayfield, where you're talking 8 to 10, maybe 12. No. And I like Wentz, but no, I wouldn't do that. I think to a degree the rumors are true, but I don't think he's about to retire. I think his arm isn't the same and could be a lot better this year. He didn't get a lot of time in training camp, didn't really get to have a rapport built with really anybody because of that. I don't know. A lot went wrong. I mean, I guess, but at the same time, P-Train, what I would argue is, as easy as it is now, it's like, don't you just go and you try to win a Super Bowl now? Especially after your 5-12 season. See, this is why I feel like it's a more of an emotional overreaction. Like, oh, we went 5-12. Definitely could not have been because of the injuries. Definitely could not have been the fact that Stafford only played half the season, Cooper Kupp only played half the season, Aaron Donald only played half the season. No, definitely wasn't that. Like, they just overreacted, in my opinion. I really believe that. The offensive line was never healthy. This is an overreaction. But like I said, I understand what they're doing. It's not like I don't get what they're doing. I don't like it. Yeah, I know. That's anywhere. Yeah, I don't know. That's so frustrating though. Would you rather have Leonard Floyd this year? Or would you rather have $3 million in cap space? Because that's what you're gonna get. $3 million in cap space, $19 million in dead money. It just makes me so sick. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's tough. It's a real thing. And hey, in this political climate, where I'm not talking politics, but just like the inflation, let's be honest here. It's harder to make ends meet in this country. Since the pandemic, it's expensive. Not everyone can afford it. I know I can't. Everyone's like, I can't even tell you how many times people have tried to give me free Rams tickets. And I'm like, that's great. I appreciate it. And I feel bad, but I'm not going to, turn it down if they really want me to go. But then I always follow up with appreciate it, but I can't do the lodging and, flights are way expensive now. So I can't even really fly. So it's really it's not a simple trip, And it's like, if you're coming from New York, going to LA, you want to enjoy your time there. Like if I'm going to LA, I want that to be a vacation. I don't want to just go for a weekend, but fortunately, all you can really afford is a weekend. And if even. So I totally know what you mean. Ticket prices are outrageous. And this is in all sports. So, it's, I don't know. It definitely, I get what you're saying. It's frustrating. Let's see. I like him. I need to see more of him though. I liked him from afar when I was just watching games. Like when Kansas played Texas or whatever. I like him. I think I had him mocked to the Jets in my way too early Jets mock draft, but I need to grind the tape. And I'm nowhere near going to linebackers. We'll get there, but it's March 7th and I just got to wide receivers. So, it sucks. I hate to hold out on you guys, but I need to get to the point where, I'm going through it in more of a thorough approach this year than any year in the past. So it's taking me longer and doing content like I did. Believe it or not, guys, I said I was going to do 10 running backs, 10 running back videos. I think I said I was going to do. Yeah, I ended up doing 24. 24. That's 38 short videos, 38-minute scouting reports. It's been a lot of work. So I look forward to finishing it and having it all out to you and being able to start doing mock drafts and everything. But until I finish it, I'm not going to be able to do any mock drafts. The good news is it's not until April. It's not until the end of April. So I still have, not over a month to finish this all. So I should be fine. Yeah, Roger, I believe it. And thanks again, for donating. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it's brutal out there. No matter what tickets you're getting, it is brutal. Let's see. Man. So I have no analysis on this or any sort of insider knowledge. Just I have the weirdest feeling that Dalton Kincaid will be the Rams' first round pick when they acquire that first round pick for Jalen Ramsey. I don't know why. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you. We can go back to this video. If he gets selected, there are going to be people asking me what the lotto numbers are, because they're going to be like, how the hell did you see that coming? I have a weird feeling that Dalton Kincaid is going to be a Ram, and he's going to be the first pick that they make. I don't know. It's oh man, if that happens, it's going to be weird. The last time I had this this kind of feeling, it was Cam Akers. I literally said Cam Akers is going to be a Ram. And then the day Cooper Kupp was drafted, I didn't want Cooper Kupp. Full disclosure, I wanted Chris Godwin. And I said, they're going to pick Cooper Kupp. Just watch. I want Chris Godwin. They're going to pick freaking Cooper Kupp. And sure enough, they did. And I'm an idiot. So glad they did. But yeah. Can I do a quick rundown for Dalton? I can't without basically lying to you, which I'm not going to do. The thing here is I'm not fake it till you make it, right? I really put in the work, and you guys probably know this, but I'm not sitting here reading off scouting reports in front of me that someone else made. I make these myself. I watch tape. I don't just watch highlights. I really go into the nitty gritty, and I watch hours and hours and hours and hours of film during draft season. But the reason I can't give you a quick rundown for Dalton is because I don't really know much about him. In the effort of being fully transparent, I know little bits, but I simply have not done the research. I have not watched the tape since I've been going in running back, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, defensive line, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, corner, and safety. Since that's my order, I haven't gotten a tight end yet. So what I will never do is I will never fake that I know something, right? I'll never fake that I know something. So if I don't know it, I'll either look it up, which I'm not, I'll do it right now, but I'll do it with the caveat of you guys knowing that I didn't know this ahead of time, right? So I'll look up Dalton Kincaid just because you mentioned it. And I think you deserve an answer because, I appreciate the question. I just didn't want to be, disingenuous. So Dalton Kincaid, Utah tight end, 6'4", 246. Let's see here. Let's see. So his comparison is Zach Ertz, according to NFL.com. Fluid athlete with impressive catch radius, gets into routes with good initial burst, has enough speed to threaten vertical across the field. Sweet feet to break and separate from coverage, possesses outstanding ball tracking and focus as a receiver, makes well-timed moves for jump ball victory. His hands are sticky, sure through contact, above average run and catch, fluidity on the move. So right off the bat, this guy to me feels like getting another Gerald Everett. Getting a guy that is full-on pass catcher. And I'm not saying he's going to be Gerald Everett. Like, he should be better, right? But the issue, the weakness is liability as a run blocker, jarred off of his base by average contact, struggles to stay connected to a block for long, routes could use better speed variance, and physical defenders are able to slow his routes. So essentially, guys, I'm glad I looked this up. Dalton Kincaid, nothing against the guy. I haven't watched the tape. This is just what I'm reading, is that he is a receiving threat as a tight end. He could be a serious matchup problem. This is a guy that I could absolutely see them going after. But what I will say about him is that it seems, just based on this report, and again, if you're just joining, I'm not claiming that I know this, right? I have to watch the tape. But just looking at this report is that he has blocking issues. Now, there are two decisions that you make in this, three decisions that you make in this case. The first is, if you believe Dalton Kincaid is going to make your team better, he's going to improve your passing attack, then you go out and you draft him. The second is, if you believe Dalton Kincaid is going to make your team better, he is going to help you in the passing game, and in addition to that, he's fairly coachable. You believe in your coaching staff, and you feel you can coach up his deficiencies in the run blocking department, you pick Dalton Kincaid. The third option is you don't pick Dalton Kincaid because you like his pass catching ability, but you're like, there are other guys that can catch passes and block, so I'll just go after those guys. And they may not be as polished of receivers at the tight end position, but I'll sacrifice a little polish at the receiving end of, being a tight end. And as long as I get more of blocking out of it, right? And so that you might be gravitating towards Darnell Washington. You might be gravitating towards, Michael Mayer. That's what I would say there. Alexis wants the Rams to draft Michael Mayer. I think she's absolutely going to lose it if they do draft him. She's a Notre Dame fan, but she also thinks that he's a generational talent. Again, I haven't watched a ton of the tight ends because I'm going in order, but that's that. So again, I just wanted everyone to know, in the effort of being fully transparent, I did not write that scouting report myself. Okay? I did not write that. That's not my findings. That's Lance Zierlein's findings on NFL.com. I just figured if you guys want to know who Dalton Kincaid was, there you go. Utah tight end, very good receiving tight end, so he says, and struggles in the blocking department. So the more you know. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. How dare you, Jake, try to have a life outside of football? I know, right? Shake my head. I feel you, Jake. People acted cool concerning the 49ers 2020 injury season, but people saying the Rams can't bounce back and regress, that we should tear it down and rebuild. Yeah, I know. Do you think the Rams would still be making these moves they successfully traded for Brian Burns? Probably not, because I think at that point they're in. Like, you're either in or you're not in, and at that point you're in. You can't get out of that. So it would make no sense. Like, hey, we got Brian Burns, but now we're going to trade away Jalen Ramsey. And no, they'd probably stick it out. Give me Gibbs in the draft at running back. See what LaFleur McVay do with him. Yeah, he would be insane. I don't know if I want to draft a running back that high, but, oh, man, Jahmyr Gibbs on the Rams, I'd have a hard time arguing with that. Appreciate you, Exotic. Yeah, I see edge rusher at 36 as well. If they do stay, we'll see what ends up happening. Kincaid would be a great pick. Yeah, I can't say. I haven't even seen his film yet. I've seen just bits and pieces of him playing against USC, but he seems good. I need to, watch the film, and, I'll have that out soon, or not soon, but decently soon. I still have to go through the wide receivers. We'll see when I do that. They don't have the cap, so it's not that they're tanking, but you know, they don't really have the cap to bring a lot of those guys back. Plus, they're older too. Respect, Jank. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate that, Exile. Or in this case, a sitting W. Yes, thank you. I feel like AK is putting the energy out there for us to take Michael Meyer. LOL. We know she loves her Notre Dame players. Plus, he's a great prospect anyways. Facts. Aussie, thank you so much for donating. Really appreciate you there for the 15. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Give me Darnell Washington. Yeah, I mean, all right, I've seen him probably more than any tight end, and I got to tell you, runs well. You know, he's athletic. He blocks down the field. He's aggressive. He's violent. He's got natural hands. I don't know. He might make a lot of sense, you know, if you're looking for the total package there. But he could go in the first round too. This is a really good tight end class from what I've heard. So I'm excited to dive into it. But first, we're starting with wide receivers, and then we'll get into tight ends. You'll probably start seeing wide receiver videos tomorrow or the next day. We're not done with the running back videos yet. I'll tell you how many we have left exactly. We got Eric Gray, Evan Hull. These are all recorded, by the way. They'll be dropping tomorrow at some point. Mo Ibrahim, Chris Rodriguez, and Cameron Peoples. So we got about 5 left. 5 left, and then we have all the running backs out. So that's all done. And then we'll move on to the wide receivers. I'm thinking about making a video, and this might be so pointless, but I was thinking about taking all of the videos I did, the minute videos, and putting them all together in a giant long form video. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but just putting all the draft picks. And then what I could do is I make it a giant video. I put all of the minute scouting reports, and then I put time signatures or time stamps for each one. Now that might look absolutely ridiculous on the feed because we're talking hundreds of prospects potentially. I mean, we're already up to 38 and we haven't even done a wide receiver yet. So we're at 38 prospects, but I don't know, it's something I'm considering. They should aim for a first and a second, settling for a first and a third, and first and a fourth at the very minimum, I would say. Biggest lead, I would say the Detroit Lions. The Lions didn't make the playoffs. I think they have the best chance to have the biggest leap. Kincaid at 36. Yeah, I gotta watch the tape, but yeah, I hear he's a really good pass catcher. Oh yeah, when I saw they're either gonna cut Floyd if they can't trade him, I'm sorry, they're cutting him. They're not getting anything. The Rams don't get anything for these guys. They cut Todd Gurley. That's the difference, all right? Like, it's not me being negative, it's me being a realist. You look at Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick literally gets 2 picks out of a running back with an arthritic knee and a running back that he was going to get rid of. Everybody and their mother knew. And he got 2 picks, 2 of them, a 4th and a 6th from the Rams for Sony Michel. A running back with knee problems netted him 2 picks, and he already made it very clear he wasn't going to make the roster. And the Rams didn't get anything for Todd Gurley, right? They didn't get anything for Bobby Wagner, who was literally an all-pro. They're not going to get anything for Leonard Floyd. They're probably not even going to get a first rounder and get fleeced for Ramsey. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. I was thinking that, but now it won't make sense because it made sense before with Derek Carr potentially going there, but now that Aaron Rodgers is probably going there, they're going to have to trade those picks. So they won't have those picks to give to the Rams. Yes, please. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. We're over 100 likes, almost at 200 viewers still. Really appreciate you guys. I'm glad we went earlier. We normally go late. I like doing it earlier. It's just sometimes I can't because I'm doing all sorts of stuff and I lose track of time. And for those of you who missed it, yes, I was planning on going live yesterday and talking about all this this recent news, but I passed out. I had my job interview and then I just passed out for hours. So that's what happened about that. As always, you guys can always go back and watch the replay of this. It just becomes a video. I had people ask me that, like, hey, if I miss your live stream, do you post as a video? Absolutely. I have automatic DVR set, so after every live stream, it might take like a second or two to show up, but it's always going to be a video. And at some point or another, when I have some time and I don't feel like I'm running around like crazy with like my hair on fire, I'll start like chopping these up into clips again. I used to do it, but the problem is it takes so long to find certain spots. That's something. All right, guys. You want to help out me? Here's one way to help out. If you are ever watching a live stream or something and you're like, you like a certain part of like a clip, you're like, oh, this is clip worthy. You don't have to do this, but if you want to help out, just make a comment and put the timestamp in between the two timestamps and say like, yeah, this is a clip that I want you to make. And I'll cut it up and I'll make it a separate video. TiVo that live stream. So I didn't watch the combine at all. I was working on my draft stuff. I caught up on all my draft stuff. So, I was just watching running back tape. I really just used the combine to, I saw some of the on-field drills, but I didn't really watch it. Just like, clips that were posted on Twitter. But yeah, I put all that, like the athletic testing I put in the database and everything that I have. So yeah, I don't know. I used to be way more into the combine. Now I don't watch it as much. Also, like, how many guys run the 40 anymore? Like, I don't know. How many guys even participate? I feel like all these guys get invited and then they never have a backup plan. Like, these guys get invited and then they don't participate. And so we don't have like guys in that slot. When you have all of these snubs, it's ridiculous how many guys were snubbed, but whatever. So out of just the two positions I've scouted, I'd say Hendon Hooker, Jake Haener are on my wish list. Hendon Hooker definitely being near the top. Well, Anthony Richardson would be at the top, but he's probably not going to be in play. So Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, and I'd say Jake Haener and Jaron Hall. And then running backs, boy, I'll make this simple. Keaton Mitchell and Deuce Vaughn, I think, would fit the best on the Rams. So I'll probably just say them. But I like a lot of running backs in this class. I like Abanikanda. I love Abanikanda's game. I like Devon Achane. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. Tajay Spears. He'd probably be on there too. But yeah. Yeah, I feel for him too. Andrew Voorhees, that's awful. That is awful. Man. Very tough break. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, also known as the thumbs up button. If you are on mobile phone, you're probably in the chat right now. If you're in the chat view, just scroll out of the chat view. You'll go back to the video, and then below the video, you can hit the like button. Also, if you're on mobile, be sure to hit the bell icon. It really does help me out because it's going to get you guys, anytime I go live, it's going to get you guys ready for that. You're going to get the notification, the bell icon. I'll give you the numbers since I gave them to you last time. We moved up on the numbers, actually, so really appreciate that from you guys. We have 6.4% of all subscribers that I have on the channel. 6.4% are subscribed with all notifications turned on for the channel. 4.4% are all notifications and enabled YouTube notifications, because that's the thing. You have to also enable YouTube notifications in the app on your phone. But yes, be sure to hit that bell icon. It really does help me out. It allows me to push video content to you, and you get it instantly. There's no more like, hey, I missed your stream. Like, I didn't get a notification. Make sure you have enabled YouTube notifications. You might not get the notification if you don't have that. So let's see here. I think I'm going to head out. I'll answer a couple questions here. Stream schedule. Right now, I can't really commit to anything. Just really hectic dealing with, trying to pursue this job that I just had my second interview for. So you have that, and then, just everything I've been doing with the draft and doing interviews, and I have podcasts to record. So, all of that. Also, actually, you actually reminded me by saying stream schedule. So this Thursday, that's right, in 2 days, join Alexis Kraft and I on a football show live. It's going to be, I think, 8:30 Eastern time, maybe 9 Eastern time. It's going to be one of those Eastern times, right? And so we are going to be live. We're going to be talking about the NFL. So please be sure to join us. You can find it on my channel. You'll be able to find it on hers, I believe. And we might make a channel for the show itself as well. It's just going to be Alexis and I talking ball, and we're really excited about it. We have no idea where it's going to take us, but we're really excited for, this opportunity to kind of just do something where we're able to branch out and have some fun and talk about, our favorite league and our favorite sport, and just, we already have the chemistry from all the time we've worked together with DTR that, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, really looking forward to that. I can't share too much about the job just because if I don't get it, like, I'm going to feel like really shitty. But what I will say is the job has to do with sports. So it's not back into my old stuff that I was trying to avoid. It actually has to do with sports. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Let's see. The John Morant situation, it's tough, man. I wish he needs to get the help he needs. I hope he comes out okay. It's a tough one. It really is. I mean, that whole waving the gun around in a strip club is just really not a good look, especially with everything going on. Just not a good look. Yeah, it's upsetting because Ja is one of my favorites, but yeah, not a fan of that. Let's see. How do I feel? I think the Lakers are going to win. I think AD, the way he's playing right now, he's elevated his game, without LeBron. So, I mean, I think the Lakers are going to win. It's going to be a tough game, but, we'll see. But I think the Lakers win. I think they are going to move closer and closer. I mean, the goal is to get out of the play-in, right? They're trying to get to that 6th seed. I don't know if they're going to do it. I think they'll probably be in the play-in, but if they get the 7, then they're going to have home court. So we'll see. But I feel pretty good about the Lakers winning tonight, so that's where I have it. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it. We'll have more content coming out, draft heavy for sure. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Does help out the channel. Also, be sure to hit the bell icon on mobile phones. Also helps out the channel. But I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and this has been another JE Live. Love doing them. Love being able to be around you guys and talk about this team. It's going to be frustrating, but we'll keep pumping out the content. I'm going to keep being honest. It's not Mr. Negative. It's Mr. Honest. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion all the way through. We'll have more and more and more content, and just keep it right here for all your NFL draft, Rams entertainment, live streams, etc. We got it all over here on the Jake Ellenbogen channel. So thank you guys so much. You guys take care. Have a great night, and I will see you guys in all likelihood probably tomorrow, but definitely Thursday for the debut show of for a football show, AFS, excuse me, with Alexis Kraft. So thanks again, guys, and you guys take care. Peace. You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today.